Guys, Jason here. Just got finished editing the video. We'll be posting it shortly. I've held up my part of my bargain. This is 6 days later. Please hold up your part of the bargain, support the video, and let me know thoughts. And if you don't like the video, let me know that, please.
In 1955, George Mikan would retire, leaving his throne for the best player in the NBA open. And this season, they had a little magician running around on the hardwood, making plays, getting everybody involved, passing between his legs. Bob Cousy is one of the best playmakers of all time, one of the most revolutionary players at this time. And he has a great season in the 1955 season, putting it really all together for the first time. This season, Bob Cousy averaged 21, 6, and 8, being second in points per game, winning the assist title, and with that, commanding the best offense in basketball. The Boston Celtics this season would be 36 and 36, placing third in the East. They'd go on to play the Knicks in the first round, where they would win 2-1, and Bob Cousy would have an excellent scoring performance, averaging 27 points per game. Bob Cousy would go on to be a 12-time All-NBA player, 1-time MVP, 6-time NBA champion, and 8-time assist title winner. In the 1955-56 season, Paul Arizin is the best player. Paul this season would average 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, commanding the best offense in basketball, similar to Bob Cousy the season before, but they would have the best record in basketball. He would have All-NBA player and Hall of Famer Neil Johnson on his team, so both of those accomplishments, he had some great teammates, but we're not taking anything away from Paul here. Paul this season would be an All-NBA player, an All-Star, and be runner-up in MVP, where this award was announced for the first time. Bob Pettit would win that award this season. Bob Pettit was a phenomenal player this season, but what separates the two for me are the playoffs. Paul Arizin would be an absolute playoff riser, averaging 29 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 3 assists. In the second round of the playoffs, they'd play Dolph Schayes in the Nationals, where he would have 30 points per game and absolutely dominate that series. Following the victory against the Syracuse Nationals, they'd go on to play the Fort Wayne Pistons, who had a very good squad over there, with George Yardley and Max Solofsky. In this series, Paul Arizin would average 27.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, and they would win in 5 games. Now, this season was 2 years after Paul Arizin took a 2-year hiatus from the NBA to serve in the military, which is unbelievable. Paul Arizin was also known as the first guy with a textbook jump shot and had an absolute lethal jump shot for the time. If there was a three-point line, Paul Arizin would have absolutely thrived from that fact. In the 1956-57 season, Bob Cousy's once again making his way on the list, where in this season he actually does win the MVP himself, averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists, where he had the best record in the league. He had the best defense in the league, but this is rookie Bill Russell, so that's a lot on just Bill. He won the assist title this season and had a very good playoff performance where he does end up winning the finals in this season. Bob Cousy in these playoffs would average 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists, seeing his assist numbers spike tremendously in this playoff run. In the first round, they'd play Dolph Schayes in the Nationals, which it seems like a lot of these players are beaten in the playoffs, where they would win 3-0. And in the finals, they'd play the Atlanta Hawks and Bob Pettit, where they would play in a historic matchup where it goes to 7 games, and Bob Cousy and the Celtics would get it done in 7 games, where Bob Cousy actually has a very poor finals performance, shooting 2 for 20 from the field. It's the year 1957, and the bombs are coming down from Baton Rouge, with Bob Pettit making his appearance on the list, averaging 24.5 points per game, 17 rebounds, and 2 assists. This season, the Hawks were the best team in the West. Bob Pettit would be an All-NBA player. He'd be an All-Star, of course, and he'd be in the MVP conversation once again. Bob Pettit's known as the first stretch forward that the league has ever seen and had the greatest set jump shot for the time. Bob Pettit and the Hawks would take on the Detroit Pistons, who just moved to Detroit, and George Yardley in the first round of the NBA playoffs, where Bob Pettit would crush the Pistons. In the next round, they would play in the NBA Finals against Bill Russell and have an absolutely historic rematch, where Bob Pettit in this finals would average 29 points, 17 rebounds, and 2 assists, and have the greatest closeout game pro basketball has ever seen, with a 50-19 closeout game, serving Bill Russell his only finals loss ever. Bob Pettit would go on to be inducted to the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, being an 11-time All-NBA player, 2-time MVP, 2-time scoring champ, 1-time rebounding champ, and the 1-time NBA championship that we're talking about right now. In the following season, the 1958 season, Bob Pettit would also be the best player in the league, this season increasing his scoring from 24 to 29 points per game, averaging 16 rebounds and 3 assists with that, winning his second MVP, being an All-NBA player, and having 15 win shares, which is very, very good. Winning the scoring title this season and commanding the best offense in basketball with him winning the scoring title. In the playoffs this season, they would be semi-disappointing, as in Bob Pettit's performance, not itself, where he had averaged 28 points, 12, and 2, and the Minneapolis Lakers would beat him in 6 games, unfortunately. In the 1950 first year of the 60s, this league was taken by absolute storm by the most athletic person of all time, by maybe the most talented player to ever touch a basketball. He has an argument. Wilt Chamberlain was a rookie in this season and averaged an absolutely monstrous 37.6 points, 27 rebounds, and 2 assists, winning Rookie of the Year, winning MVP, which is the first time this has ever happened, and one of 2 times in NBA history this happens, won the scoring title, of course, and a monstrous 17 win shares for a rookie. In the next round of the playoffs, a monstrous rivalry of the century would start with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, where Bill Russell would get the best of them in their first ever clash, where Wilt Chamberlain averaged 30 points, 28 rebounds, 2 assists, and they would lose in 6 games to the Boston Celtics. This season by Wilt Chamberlain is absolutely something to remember. The league was not ready for what he had, and he was untouchable, absolutely unguardable in these seasons. He was bigger than everybody, he was faster than everybody, he was stronger than everybody, and this continued throughout the years. The only thing that stopped Wilt Chamberlain these years were his selfish self, and he would put it together later in his career, but this Wilt Chamberlain was not necessarily a winning player. I think it goes without me saying, but Wilt Chamberlain goes on to have a tremendous NBA career, winning 2 championships, 1 finals MVP, 4 MVPs, winning 7 scoring titles, winning 1 assist title, which is unbelievable, 11 rebounding titles, being 10-time All-NBA and 2-time All-Defensive. All right, guys, a little recap here. This is spoilers for part 1, so go watch that if you haven't. Joe Fulks starts the NBA by paving his way and figuring it out, leading to Max Zolofsky having an efficient scoring season himself. Following that, George Mikan enters the NBA and just has the most dominant 6-season stretch of all time, to this point, of course. Then Bob Cousy takes those reins with his playmaking ability. Paul Arizin, after 2 years removed from the military, comes back and is the best player in 55. Bob Cousy once again takes that title, leading the way with his playmaking. Then Bob Pettit's the best player with his scoring, being the first stretch 4 that the league's seen and revolutionizing the game. And then Wilt Chamberlain, you talk about taking the league by storm. This dude just dominated in that league. 37 points per game as a rookie. Nothing like compared to the people on the rest of this list. Looking at the honorable mentions, Dolph Schayes is going to get his first little bit of love here. Dolph Schayes was a phenomenal player for the time, and his prime was a pretty long time, especially for the era. However, he just was not the best player in any of these seasons. Bob Pettit gets 2 mentions as second place, which, that's 4 straight years of being top 2 player in the league. Then Bill Russell gets 3 straight nods. Trust me, Bill Russell will have his time. This is still young Bill Russell. And if you guys like the video, I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a good day.